If I normally have questions read aloud to me in class, or I have a text-to-speech online support, I should have that turned on for online testing. I'll know it's turned on when I see the Speak option button at the top in my toolbar. When I click on Speak Options, I can control the volume by moving the toggle left or right, the speed, slower or faster, moving it left to right, and the gender of voice I want to hear read to me by clicking on the voice I prefer. Once I've selected my speaker options, anywhere I see a speaker button, I'm able to click and listen.
What is the meaning of the word international in paragraph 5?
If at any time I believe that the speed or the volume or the voice is not correct or what's best for me, I can change it. I have a better preference.
What is the meaning of the word international in paragraph 5?
It'll read my question as well as my answer choice
Within a single nation.
on most assessments. If I have an inline choice style question, I need to click for each choice to be read aloud. So I'll click the first choice and press play.
The author's purpose in the passage "the airboard" was most likely to warn the reader.
Then to hear the second word choice, I'll click it again and click speaker.
The author's purpose in the passage "the airboard" was most likely to inform the reader.
And the same thing for the third one.
The author's purpose in the passage "the airboard" was most likely to instruct the reader.
Once I've made the choice I want, I can go ahead and click that to answer the question. Notice that it's not going to read reading passages if this is a reading test. It's only going to read the questions and answers. If I have content clarifiers as well as text-to-speech, there'll be these little blue underlines. Anywhere I have those, if I get text-to-speech also, I can click on there and have it read that clarifier for me as well.
5. The future is here. Grab your airboard and let's hit the air. Want to know where to buy one? 5. The future is.
I can click it again if I want to hear it read or start over, or I can click this stop button by the square. If I start a long part and I realize I need to pause it, I can do that as well.
5. The future is here.
I can pause it by clicking the little pause button or press play.
Grab your airboard and let's hit the air. Want to know where to buy one?
And if I'm ready to stop, the square. Text-to-speech can apply to multiple types of tests, not just reading. It can also be in my math, science, or social studies. When I click it on the answer choice or question, it's going to read whatever I'm asking it to read.
Directions. Drag and drop the correct answer choice to each answer blank.
Notice that it reads the directions to me, and then it will read the question.
Which number can be placed in the box to show the list of numbers in order from least to greatest or greatest to least? Move the correct answers to each box. Answer choice, 8.105. Answer choice, 8.015. Answer choice, 12.048. Answer choice, 12.102. 8.036. Blank, 8.005. 12.003. Blank, 12.05.
Notice it says blank when it's giving me that space that I need to drag and drop my answer into. That's how I know I need to drag or drop an answer to that rectangle. That is how you use text-to-speech in testing online and aware. If I'm a student who receives content and language supports, I should have content clarifiers on my test in Aware Assessments online testing. I'll know I have them when I see these blue underlined words. If it's on a reading passage, it's in the passage. It will also be in questions and answer choices. In science, social studies, and math, it'll be on questions and answer choices as well. To use content clarifiers, I just need to hover over the blue underlined words. Sometimes it'll give me an image that helps me better understand what I'm reading or what I'm reading in the question. Sometimes it's going to give me a short phrase that helps replace the word or rewrites the sentence in a way that makes it clearer to me. This is going to help me better understand what the questions are asking and what I might need to know. That way I can really reflect what I understand about the content and not struggle as much with the context. Again, content and language supports are going to be across different tests. So if I'm in a math test, it will be perhaps a visual to help me see what it is I'm supposed to be measuring, a shorter phrase to help me understand what nearest might mean. It might show me a different way of thinking about the word represent, or even give me a GIF so that I can see a picture, a visual of what she ran looks like. If I have those content clarifiers layered on my test, I definitely want to click on those so that I can get a better understanding of what this question is asking and really reflect my knowledge. If I'm a student who has spell check available for Aware online testing, I'll notice that when I'm working on a short constructed response, when I'm working on a short constructed response or a text entry, a place where I need to type my own thinking down, once I type my words, I'll notice that any incorrect word is underlined in that red squiggly line. That's telling me that that word is spelled incorrectly. If I right-click on the word, I'm going to see a choice of different words I might be trying to spell. So I'll read through each one and decide which one I was really trying to spell. So spell check, I'll right-click, will, underline, a right-click. I wasn't trying to say woods, I was trying to say words. So I'll click on words. And I think I was trying to say spelled. Once I know that the words are the words I was intending, I can go ahead and click those words, and now I have the words spelled correctly. If I'm a student who receives support for speech to text, meaning that normally in class, when everybody else is writing or typing out their response to reading or their response to a question in science or social studies or math, I'm going to maybe tell my teacher out loud what my response would be. If that's what I'm doing in class, then on testing days, I want to do the same thing. I want to use a speech to text support. I'll know I have the speech to text support on my test when I come across a short constructed question that looks like this. It'll have a box where I'm going to type a response typically, but it's going to give me a little microphone to use instead. I'll use that microphone and I'll record myself responding to the question. So if I need to, I might have text to speech as well. I can listen to the question or read the question to myself. And then once I'm ready, I'll go ahead and toggle that on by clicking this round button. I think the author mentioned the Jetsons and Back to the Future in the introduction because they wanted the reader to better understand that a skateboard or flying skateboard is the same thing as the hoverboard. And it has something to do with the future. Period. Once I recorded my response, you'll notice that I saw it red when I was recording, and I pressed the square to stop the recording. I'll want to go back and double check my response to make sure that it's including all of the thinking that I wanted to include, as well as any of the mechanics or grammar, punctuation that I need to fix. So noticing here, I said the word period, but I didn't really mean the word period. I meant the symbol to end the sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a period instead. I may also want to go back and look at places I paused that I didn't really mean to put a huge space between. Or words like Jetsons or the Jetsons, because it was up here in a different format. I may want to go back in and change that too. The important thing to remember is once I'm ready to record, I press on. I add my thinking by talking into the microphone. And then I press stop when I'm done. The red light will turn off. And it's no longer recording my thinking here. If I added information that I really didn't mean to add to my response, I can always highlight it by putting my cursor over it and then clicking delete. That's how you use your speech to text feature. If I'm a student who has been working with a calculator in class as part of one of my supports for math or science in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th grade, I may need that same experience online. In that case, I can access the 4-function calculator when my teacher turns it on for me in Aware Online. When I have this online support, I'll know it's there by seeing this tool up in my toolbar. I'll click it, and I'll be able to use the calculator that I'm used to using in class. I can delete, and once I'm done, I can close out. I'm a student who normally takes my tests in Spanish, and I get to my test and I notice that all of my tools are actually in English, as well as my directions are in English. Even though the test questions are in Spanish, I need to make sure my teacher knows I need that Spanish online support tool turned on for me. Once I've told my teacher that I was not seeing my tools and my directions in Spanish, my teacher was able to turn the Spanish supports on for me in the online supports on their Proctor page. And once that happened, now I'm able to see all my tools in Spanish, my navigation in Spanish, as well as my directions in Spanish. Now I'm able to take my test in Spanish as needed.